All right, now we're live. What's up, everybody? Marshall, Budget Guy RC. Wishing I was fishing. Of course, it says with the grandkids. But wishing I was fishing. Love this t-shirt. Wishing I was fishing. I used to tell everybody that when I'd be at work. Man, I wish I was fishing right now. But I had to get paid, so I'd be like, man, I wish I was fishing right now. Hope everybody's doing okay on the 10th of December here. On this site, I'm using the StreamYard again to go live on YouTube. I'm doing that so that way other people that have mics and cameras could come on, and I got to try to figure it out because, this is only my second time in here. If anybody comes on and wants to be on cam, wants to be seen, wants to use their mic, I probably got to add them in, like split it, do a split screen, them and me. Not sure. I'm going to try to learn this, but I'm doing this week to see, what goes on. But I noticed a difference in the comments. Now, the comments will be to your right. Yeah. When this video posts, you'll have to come over here to the right-hand side of the screen, and you'll have to click and just look and find the comments. And when you not top comments, I think it's all comments or something like that. You click on that, and then it'll put up all the comments that were done during the stream all the way down through there. So you can look and see what everybody said. That way you don't just hear me talking and discussing stuff with people, and you're like, well, what did they say to make him say that? Or what did they ask him? That's the only thing about this one. Is the biggest difference about this one from the plain YouTube live is this one you got to open up them comments to be able to see them. You got to click on them and bring them open to be able to see them. Whereas on YouTube, I'm sitting here live, and as people are commenting to me and I'm talking to them, it's right under the video. So when the video posts after I end the broadcast, all your comments are directly under the video, and everybody who watches the video after it's over, the broadcast after it's over, can sit there and just go under the video and see what everybody said. Then you got to click nothing else, But over here, all you got to do is click on the right hand side, click where it's showing the comment thing, click on the right button. It'll bring up all the comments that were on there. Bull Beer RC Videos. What's up, brother? Good to have you in the house tonight. Basically, just talking about whatever, just so you know. If you're like most people trying to get ready for Christmas, what happened with your video the other day I was watching? It didn't have nothing at the beginning screen. It was like blacked out, like it'd been removed or something. Was that because you tried to load it before it finished or something and gave you your, thumbnail? Because it's just like white with an arrow, like the video didn't do right. I clicked on it anyway and watched it, and there was some good trailing there, but oh man, I forgot about Christmas. It can't sneak up on you. It's sneaking up on my wallet this year, but it didn't sneak up on me. I knew it was coming and everything. I was already like, oh Lord, Christmas is coming. And you wasn't here last week when I did the one last week, but the company I was working for, they decided to pull up states because they wasn't making enough money in this area. So they're going to focus on other markets, and they decided to pull up states, and they only gave us like a 3-week notice, to find work elsewhere. But then they offered if we stayed with them until their very last day, they would give us a little bit of a bonus. So I went ahead and stayed with them. Yeah, I'm talking about I think it was your last video. I think it was Trailing Fun. I forgot exactly what you named it. But your title's here. But up here, it's got no thumbnail. It's like a white screen with an arrow. Like either it got published too soon before you got your thumbnail added to it, or something went wrong, and it just doesn't have anything there. But when you click on the video actually plays. It was the last, I think it was the last trail video you put up, unless I've missed one. I didn't comment on it or anything, but I did watch it. The first part of the video that I see is like a red Jeep with a cage. I seen that in the video. But like I said, it's just there's no thumbnail showing on my end. And it's basically you got your square like this for your video, and it's all white or gray like this, and you got an arrow like this with like a circle around it. Like it didn't get the thumbnail or something happened to the video. A lot of times it's the thing they do when YouTube deletes one. That's what it looked like. Because I've seen YouTube delete them before, or the person who posted it would realize that it didn't have sound or something, and they'd take it down to put up another one, and it would turn it white like that, and you'd click on it, and it's like, video has been removed. You know. So yeah, I was talking about one of your videos. But that might just be on my end. Other people might be seeing a thumbnail. But to me, it's just, you know. And I know most of your, pretty much every video I've ever seen of yours has a thumbnail up there before you even click on the video. And this one, like I said, just had that. And it made it look like, it took me probably a day or two after it showed up before I actually watched it, because I thought it was something that was just, when I clicked on it, was going to say, you removed it. Oh, they look fine on your end. Just didn't come through on my end. Don't know why that happened. Because I had a computer tech just go through my computer, and other than some registry file stuff that didn't get deleted, he said my computer was running top notch. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, on my end, it had no thumbnail on your last one. And I'm like, what's up with this? I'm like, well, maybe he didn't have sound on it, or sound didn't do right. So he took it down, and he's going to put one up later. So I didn't even click on it for like a day or two. And then I clicked on it, and I was like, oh man, those are cool trucks. But apparently maybe it was just on my end. Maybe my internet was lagging at the time you posted it, and it come up on my end without a thumbnail. Give me a second. I'm going to open up another YouTube page and see if I can see what the actual video exact name was of it. I'll be right back. I just want to look at this real quick, because that's kind of throwing me there. Okay, let me see. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, maybe it just didn't show up on my end. I don't know. Like I said, there's some crazy mess goes up on YouTube. A couple other guys on YouTube, I've seen videos do that too before. And like I said, when I would click on them, it say video was removed, you know, and it might have been they didn't, and they'd come back and you'd see it post up like an hour or two later, and they'd be like, "Oh, sorry, I had to remove the first one, didn't have sound," you know, and it just left that white. But I don't know, maybe it was just on my end, it was just lagging on my internet speed at the time. Because now I just went on your page and I can see every thumbnail of every video you put up lately. So yeah. Oh well. No harm, no foul. So how do you like your SCX 24 race? How do you like it as a race? And what made you go race instead of leaving it as a deadbolt? It's pretty cool. Lots of people going to Love's for bodies. Yeah, the only thing I had seen was that other one that they offered on Banggood.com that time. That was a 1/18 scale. I always try to come up with things for my channel that are different from what everyone else is doing. Well, I can understand that. That's why I did my the ECX Doomsday Barrage the way I did it up. I mean, anybody can run the ECX Doomsday Barrage in its stock form the way it came from, Horizon Hobby. I decided I would do mine up different. So now there's my custom ECX Doomsday Barrage. And I changed the lights at the front from the orange color that they come with. I put white lights in the front. And then I put red at the back. See, I added my own tail lights to it. Made wooden bumpers. I cut the wood, and then I cut these and drilled holes, pushed them in there and glued them in. Of course, you got your ammo, your water jug, your ammo can, your gun, your spade shovel over here to dig with, your NOS system right here, jerry can over here, of course, fire extinguisher right there, your dual exhaust from like a Mack truck put onto this. And then you got your other gun at the front, and there's your line running from your NOS up to the motor and everything. And there's your fire extinguisher there on that side. Running 2 different fire extinguishers. And then, of course, I put a little bit of rust on the rims. Camera's not picking it up real good, but yeah, I loved it when I did this truck. And of course, I got the guy in the back for the shooter. I've got the other guy in the closet. I'd have to hunt him down. I'm not gonna, but he goes with it as well. So you remember when I did this one, huh? Yep, I did that one because, like you said, a lot of people run them stock the way they come. And here's the other guy that goes to it. That's the other guy that goes out with it. But, yeah. And you know, considering all that stuff that's on that truck, it actually trails pretty good and does a decent amount of crawling for what's on that truck. I'm thinking it might be that wooden front bumper. Well, thanks for watching that one. I think it might be that front wooden bumper being down as low as it is. I think that helps it a little bit when it's, you know, keeping it planted, because I got one at the back as well. But now if I try to climb something real steep, of course it's going to probably, because of that big wooden bumper at the back. And of course it does affect the approach and departure angle a little bit because, you know, you got big wooden blocks on the front and the rear of a truck. But I wanted that apocalypse type theme. And since it was already a doomsday barrage from the factory, I figured why not make it into more of an apocalypse barrage, you know. But I gotta get it out again and do another video on that series type thing. But I've been trying to find what do you call it, the perfect spot to take it and make it look, you know, where it presents it the best. But I got an idea of a place well, it's not good as far as rocks and everything, because I didn't really see any rocks. But it would work if I took like and portrayed it right. I might could get it to look like, you know, a barren piece of land that was stuff was supposed to be there and it wasn't. And they're exploring this, trying to find like water that they need and stuff like that. But I really want to get out to another state park or to the same one I was at last time here. I want to get out there and hunt some of their other trails and see if I can find a little bit better. I don't expect to find, you know, as much rocks as they had up north where I was closer to. I was closer up north towards the mountains, which had way more rocks at the state park I went to. Now this state park down here so far, the trail I went on, I didn't even find a rock. South Carolina. Yeah, I'm in South Carolina. I used to live up near, I was about 30 minutes out from what they call Paris Mountain State Park. I was about 30 minutes away from there. And I loved going to that state park because there was like 3 or 4 spots that I used and I could switch them up. Like go one time and put the truck in this spot and the next time maybe put it over here and then put one of my other trucks in that spot. And each path was so long, each area was so big that I was using, I could shoot that whole area and then just use a piece of it, like 3 minutes of it for this truck and be like, well, okay, next time I'm here, I'm going to focus back on this end of the trail with this truck. So that way it didn't look like I was using the same trails every time. You know, I broke that trail up into sections and used a piece of it for this video, a piece of it in another. Because, you know, I don't want it to look like every video you're shooting, you're at the same spot. And in the same, exact same terrain, exact same trail every time. But when I moved closer towards the beach, Haven't found as much rocky formation. To be honest, I don't think I've ever been to actual North Carolina. I've been, right up to the edge, like up by Clemson, up towards North Carolina, up by Clemson and stuff like that. But that's about as far up north as I've been. I've been up to Clemson, South Carolina, but I don't think I've ever actually crossed over into North Carolina. I have been to Georgia. I used to love going to a place called Russell Dam in Georgia. Used to love go there years ago fishing for striper. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been to North Carolina. Been to Georgia, been to Florida. I shot a whole video on one rock in Massachusetts. Cool. Well, it's like some of the people on YouTube, you see their video and you're going, wow, what a location. They've got the perfect combination. They come off of these rocks. They go down and they're climbing stuff. And it's just like, wow. What I wouldn't give for that spot to be within 20 or 30 miles from where I live. Because if that was like within 20, 30 miles from me, I'd be shooting a buttload of videos down there with trail trucks. But so far, all I found was mostly flat ground with sticks broke off on the ground or some pine cones or some roots, that coming away from trees that I could climb over. But, I haven't found, and every now and then I find a few inclines and downhills that I can do, but I haven't found any per se rock, that I need to climb as far as on a trail. Now, my last few videos, I found this big rock pile out by a set of train tracks, and I'm like, well, shoot, I've got that Red Cat crawler. It hadn't been out since the Everest 10. I'm like, it hadn't been out since I fixed it and put the new body on it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to take it out and do a video of it. Took it up there, shot a video of it doing the rocks. Then come back, got my Wraith, went out and did a video of it on the rocks up there. Then come back and I got the Polaris Razor clone, which is basically a Viterra Twin Hammer copy. Took that up there, did the rocks. Then I came back, modded the tires on that Red Cat, cut out some lugs, took it back up there, did another run on those rocks. But that's just more of a, rock crawling pile. It's not really a trail. It's not like a few of those rocks, then, going out into the woods, to find a few more rocks, climb them, go further in the woods. I want a trail that's a little mix of everything. Like I said, I'm still hunting. Haven't quite been here a year yet, so, it may take me a while to find. And it's probably going to be not in the town I'm in. Small town, not a bunch. There's not even a state park in the town I live in. So, that's why I said if I could find something within 30, 40 miles from here, I'll travel up to an hour basically, to try to find a real good spot that I can use multiple times. It's all about the camera angles. When I started doing videos, I would walk a mile or so making videos. Now I can do a whole video in 20-foot area. Well, it all depends on the area too. If you got an area that's completely flat, a lot of people get bored if you take 7 different trail trucks to that same 20-foot area and do that same video, and it, they kind of gets monotonous to them, and then they get bored, and they go away. That's why I try to, I did those 4 rock pile videos in a row, but I was also doing the Tuesday RC talks each week. That way people, well, if you didn't want to watch my crawling video, see what I got to say on here. If you like it, oh well. If you don't, oh well. Because like I said, you can't please everybody. But yeah, I would love to find the spot where you could do a whole video, shoot a whole video, even a 5 or 10 minute video that you're going to cut down, or a 20-minute video, or 30-minute video that you're going to cut down to 5 minutes. I wish I could find a spot where it looked good enough in that little bit of time and that little bit of space. But it's just, to me, it's too flat. And I've done plenty of videos out in the woods across from where I live, and I've shot different angles of it. I got one thing that I tote that's a gimbal set up. This attaches to my controller here, hangs down from my controller, and I walk and I shoot video beside the truck, behind the truck, in front of the truck as it's coming at me. Different things like that with this sometimes. I do that sometimes. Other footage I shoot, a lot of times I'll put a hat cam on and shoot video of it if I can't get close enough to it. Yeah, I mean, some places, like I said, location, if you can get that perfect spot and you sit there and go, you look at it and you walk maybe a mile and you go, man, I could probably do 10, 20, 30 videos down here easily. And it wouldn't look like the same spot because I could shoot it up here in this area, a couple of different areas right here, move on down a little bit, shoot this section, move on down a little bit and shoot this section. I had that where I was at that Paris Mountain State Park when I was like 30 minutes away from that because, like I said, there was like 4 spots, main spots that I used. And the trail was like area where I was shooting at was a mile or more long. And I could do the first leg of it, make me a video from that, go back next week and move down a little further and shoot a little section of that. And I'd go all the way down to the end of the trail shooting different spots of it. And then a lot of times I would start at the other end of it. Say after I've done 4 or 5 videos up on this end, I would start at the other end and work my way backwards and come backwards. That way everything's coming the opposite way. So it still looked like a different spot. And then I would jump, say, in between to other places. I always Google hiking trails near me, then look at the pictures to find my spots. Well, one of the hiking trails I found near me, it's more of a walking trail. And they've got, part of it is a big old long wooden bridge a new bridge they put in there. And if it's that flat, that part of it's a walking wooden bridge, and it didn't show any pictures of the actual, once you get onto the trail. In other words, you see where it says trail, you see the sign, you see the big long wooden bridge going across the water to get back into the woods, and then they really didn't show you any pictures of it. So that's one of those ones I'll actually have to go to, walk across that wooden bridge, and just kind of scope it out myself and see if I can see any spots that would be good to do it on that one. Because when I tried to look at pictures of it, it only gave me a picture of the entrance to the trail, the parking lot at the place, and a long wooden bridge to go across the water to get back into the woods on part of the trail. And I'm like, still didn't get me nothing. Yeah, that's what Shin RC had told me. He told me Google hiking trails near me, and then click on the map and try to find you some good spots to go to. And I was like, yeah. But I went to a place called Santee Cooper area. It's a Santee State Park. I drove there. And that was a good little run. Trust me. I drove there and I went to one of their trails. I think it was a mile and a half long trail. I went to it. I picked it first. And I took my HGP 401 and I've got a yellow Hummer body on it. And I took it down there. And that's the video where I've got posted up where it says, I ran into a gator. Yeah. Yeah, if you can find a small stream or a creek or a good drainage ditch and come away from where you get away a little bit away from the road area so you don't get all that noise in there, and you just run through that like drainage ditch down in some water that comes up at least, part of the ways on the tires, if not up to the top of the tires. Yeah, you can get some good videos from that. But yeah, that one I was talking about, I did. Yeah, I seen your gator video too. That was me doing a state park run. It was the first time ever on that trail. I didn't know what to expect, and I'm driving back there, and I had my back turned, and I brought the Hummer over across that old fallen tree, small tree, and I come up over it, and I'm backing up, and when I turned to go behind to get the angle from behind the vehicle, that's when I looked and laying over probably about 50 feet, maybe a little bit more, laying on the edge of the bank, laid that big old gator. And I'm going, oh boy. So I just decided to zoom in, shoot some footage of him, and pan around and show them where I was at. It was kind of like a swamp area. Of course, perfect spot for him to be anyway, kind of swampy back in there. And I was like, okay, time to leave. And I come back out of there. But that's the only time I'd been on that trail. But if you look at the video, you don't really see any rock formations. It's mainly, climbing over uneven ground, some roots and stuff like that. And I went through a little bit of small water, just a little bit of water while I was there too. But yeah, that place has, I think, 2 or 3 more trails down there. I believe it is. And I told somebody, I told Shin RC, I want to go back down there and check out some of their other trails just to see if I can find a little bit more, RC trailing type terrain, But I still got to get down there. And then I found another state park, I think that's, I want to say 50 minutes away. And I want to get over to it and just glance at it. These are a couple of places I've got to check out. And I joined a couple of Facebook groups for surrounding towns near where I'm at. One town I joined is probably about 48 miles away. That one might be stretching it a little bit. The other town I joined the group of is about, I'd say 30, 35 miles away. Well, that one might be a little bit simpler to go to. They run races down there with short course trucks and buggies and stuff. And I might just go down there, watch them race one night, talk to a few of the guys that are there, and see if they know of any good trailing spots in that town or in between that town and my town. These are things I'm wanting to just try to find out. Because, I want to change it up and, have a little bit better trail spot. Because like I said, I had a good mixture when I was close to that Paris Mountain State Park. And generally, if you can go to a state park, you're generally going to find pretty good terrain. But the one with the gator, I'm hoping I can find better than that. Yeah. Flat ground, you either want some water to go through, or you want some muddy terrain where you can get a close-up of the truck trying to spin the tires and muscle through it, Or I like to set the camera where I can get the right angle and catch a shadow of me coming through like shallow water. That way you get the truck coming at you, plus you see the truck shadow of it on the water. You look down on the surface of the water, the camera sees the truck shadow as it's coming across the water, plus you get the truck right here. I shot a couple of videos like that where a truck went about top of the tire deep, and you can see the shadow of it on the water, plus, and you have both of them coming at you, and it looked pretty good. I did one of those with my G-Made sawback video, and I've done some other videos where I've caught them coming through some up to the tires, type water, basically. But yeah, water can be your best friend when you can't find rocks, or mud. Muddy areas can be your best friend when you can't find rocks. But generally, I get there and it's 5 pounds of pine straw and leaves, and it's, not as much of the water in the mud. But Yeah. What's up, brother? Wishing I was fishing 73 joined in. Hey, wishing I was fishing 73. Show you something. Wishing I was fishing. And then it says with my grandkids. But hope everybody's having a good week. I hate leaves. Oh man, they're trying to get them out. It's like a vacuum cleaner when you run the RC through leaves. It's like a vacuum cleaner. It sucks them all up in all the parts you don't want it in. And you're sitting there just I feel like a cat pawing at somebody trying to get all the leaves out. I went out and ran a short course truck, my 4x4 Torment. I ran it across my front yard, out in the road a little bit, up in the edge of the woods a little bit, and it felt like I was digging out leaves for an hour. I was just like, come on, man. Seriously? Set it back down on the ground, go to take off, and you hear a little popping noise, and you're like, oh, Lord. You bring it back in, pull the body off, still more leaves, still pulling them out. Yeah. You got a leaf this big stuck up in the side of your truck or the back of your truck, and it's bigger than the wheel that's on your truck. Now, if you get little things that are growing up in the woods, you catch the right spot, and you got these little sprouts that are growing up about this tall, it actually looks like you're trailing through an actual set of trees. You can find some of that, and you're like, oh, man, that looks like a small tree. You know, and maybe this is a big fallen tree the rig's climbing over, you know, when you crawl over a branch. Some of that stuff can look scale, but them leaves, man, they love to get hung up in the right there at the fender well and sit above the tire or hang from the back area right there at the bumper. And that just messes the whole scale shot up. You're like, well, I hope people enjoy the video for what it is. But yeah, that leaf just got a big leaf like this just hanging down out of the rear end. And you're like, really? Yeah. That does kind of mess it up. Now, it says one of the guys in here left, hoping Bull Guy RC Videos is still here because I was going to ask the question, point it towards him, and see what he could tell me about it. All right. If you're still here, I'll pose this one towards Bull Guy RC. All right, this is 1/12 scale, 6-wheel drive, basically Fayutech. Now, as you can see, it's got that more that looks like an Outrunner brushless motor system in it. It was brushless motor, brushless ESC. Well, if you look back, I did a video on this, playing around in the woods, hopping over tree limbs and branches and stuff like that. Well, when I did, the rear drive shaft back here popped loose. Well, I came in, found out it was the grub screw that had backed out. You know, inside the rear end, the little grub screw backed out and it come undone and the whole thing fell out. Well, I put everything back together, put blue Loctite on there, went to crank it on to go forward. And now the ESC seems like it's done burn up or something because I've got steering left and right, but none of the wheels turned. I even undone the rear drive shaft to make sure it wasn't binding up something in the rear end. Took the rear drive shaft off, made it in the, just did it down the 4-wheel drive to make sure it wasn't binding something in the rear end back here in this one. And now it doesn't do anything but steer. When you put a battery in it, you got left and right steering. The motor doesn't turn, doesn't make any noises, doesn't do anything. So I'm wondering if it toasted the ESC when that drive shaft bound up and came loose back here on that video. I'm going to have to check and see if there's a button. I'm going to have to check and see if there's a button on that ESC. I have to check and see if there's a button anywhere on it, or like a reset button. But this thing won't do anything right now. So my thought is, you see the motor space right down here? You see the motor space in the front. My thought is maybe put a 550, like a 35 turn or 55 turn brush motor. Put a brushed crawler speed controller into this, and then just turn it into a mega crawler. That's one of the ideas I've got for this. Since the brushless system, either the ESC needs to be reset if there's a button to do that, or either I fried the ESC. And since I'm not sure whether it's the ESC or the motor that's going on this thing, like I said, I've got steering, but no motor response. So I either fried the ESC or the motor's gone, or both. And I'm not going to go back with brushless if it did that, because the brushless was a little bit too fast anyway. I'd rather just lock all the discs and make this thing a 6-wheel drive crawling beast. But Bull Gear, you see what I'm showing you in the video. Maybe you could have some ideas about what might be going on with it. And I liked Arizona for those small plants that looked scale in the videos, but didn't like the 105-degree weather. Yeah, I understand that one. I went out one day. To do some fishing. And I was out at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And it was already like, I think it was 92 degrees or 95 degrees here. And by 3 o'clock that day, I think it was 102. And that's South Carolina. It's not even Arizona. So that's pretty high for us. When you get up to that, over that 100 mark in South Carolina, that's a pretty hot day, especially for South Carolina. And then when you add in the humidity factor with it, the heat index, all that crap, it ends up feeling like it's about 110 out there. But yeah, I've heard Arizona's just, it's a dry, real dry heat, just like, ugh. But that's just what I've heard. But for anybody else who watches this later, or anybody, throw up some ideas on that 6-wheel drive, what you think I might try. Because I don't know whether the motors burn up, the Outrunner brushless motor, whether it's the ESC messed up on it, whether it's both, or whether there's a place on that ESC it can be reset and maybe it'll start working. But like I said, the rear end quit working, the rear drive on it. In other words, it went from 6-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive because the shaft come out and the piece that's supposed to stay up in the pumpkin came out with it. But that's because the grub screw came loose inside the pumpkin. I put everything back together right, put blue Loctite on there. And as soon as I put a battery in it and cranked it on, the wheels, give it some throttle, the wheels spun forward, and then it just quit spinning, and then it just had steering after that. So I don't know whether the ESC fried on it, or whether the Outrunner motor fried on it, but You would think that it might just be needing to be reset. Yeah, I really like the 6-wheel drive ones, and I like that one because the way it was made, it was easy to steer. That one had a good steering radius, but I still got my HGP 601, my big long Mercedes looking 6x6 that I've had for years. I've still got that one. Steering's crap on it, but I love that truck. But the steering is crap on it. Let me see. I'm going to pull it back out and see if I see it. Yeah, you did. But this is the way it came basically from the factory. I've got a black. I got black going to black right here. Then I have a white going to a black one. And then you have a red going into a black one. You have red to black, white to black, and then black to black. That's what you got right there with the motor and ESC wires. So it's kind of hard to know when all the ESC wires coming off of it, all three of those are black. And it wasn't like I got it wet or anything. I was out there, like I said, running in the woods. There's a video of it up on my channel. I'm hopping over these branches and stuff, playing in the woods, just kind of like a little trail bash with it. I'm having fun with it. And it come over this one branch. As soon as it went to go forward, it stopped like it got hung up in the leaves. And I looked. I kept trying to go forward, back up and go forward, like, just figured it was hung up. What it did was the shaft had come loose, and that was dug in the ground and was holding it up. So I picked it up, showed it on camera, said I was done, brought it home, went inside the diff, and found out it was a grub screw that came loose inside there that made the whole thing come out of the front end. So I put everything back together, put the blue Loctite on it, and when I put a battery in there, gave it a little bit of throttle, the wheels spun real quick, and then they just stopped. And then all it would do after that was left and right steering. So now the steering works, but none of the wheels turn. So what I done, just trying to be sure that blue Loctite didn't get on anything in the rear diff, I went ahead and took the rear drive shaft off again. So that would undo the 6-wheel drive part back here and make it down to 4-wheel drive. Put a battery back into it again, fired it up, and it wouldn't do anything but the wheels turn. Front wheels turn, and that's it. That's why I said I'm not sure if it's an ESC issue, motor issue, but I still have servo. Still have steering. And I think it's a cool looking rig. Now I did break one of my mirrors off. Here's one of them here. I broke the one off on this side, I do believe. But it is what it is. But I mean, I liked it because you had the driver, a little interior inside, and it was just cool. But I'm thinking about just trying to maybe put, since it is a 1/12 scale, trying to put like a mild, just put a brushed system in here. Put a brush crawler ESC in here, like a 1080, 1040 or 1080 type ESC, something like that. One of the waterproof ones. Then turn around and put like a 35 turn, maybe a 35 turn motor with this. I do have think it's a 45 or a 55 turn motor that I'm going to be taking out of one of my CC01s, my blue Jeep. It's in the blue Jeep that I've got the CC01, and I'm going to be changing the motor in it. And so I could pull that motor over into this one, but I believe it's a 45 or a 55 turn, and I don't know if I want to go that high of a crawler motor with it. I think I might rather do just like a 35 turn. That way you still get decent wheel speed, but you still get a lot of grunt too. But I'm wondering if this thing has a reset place on it. I got to look at it one day and look all around that ESC and see if I can spot anywhere where you can press a little button to reset the ESC and see if maybe if it ain't just a glitch. But when you don't know if it's the ESC or a motor, I don't want to buy one and find out that it's the other. Then you got to turn around and buy the other. When I could just basically buy a cheap RC 4-wheel drive 35 turn motor or something and a crawler ESC, slap in this thing and have it back on the road. An Apocalypse 6x6. Yeah. It would, the only thing it would be close to is that Steam one, that Steam looking one, that Scale Builders Guild did. Remember, he did one that's steam powered. Doesn't really crawl good. It's more of a shelf queen. But he did a 6x6 that's steam powered, and it kind of looks like an apocalypse. Like, everything got crashed, everything got broke, and they had to come up with some kind of way to get around. So they did up this steam powered 6-wheel drive vehicle because it kind of looks military style. So his looked pretty good, but yeah, that's not as close to an apocalypse as maybe putting some, like mesh on it, some screen on it, or some guns off of it or something. Yeah, there's a lot that could be done with it. That's why I said I may just, if it's not in the ESC, if there's a reset button and I find it on there, because everything's all gunked in that cage area. You have to take all that stuff off, and then it's just hard to get the stuff on that vehicle to work on it. That's the one big complaint about that one. I got all the body panels off on one side. They're back behind my computer over here on the desk I work on RCs on. But yeah, I'm thinking about just removing the little brushless outrunner or whatever little motor that's on there, and then removing the brushless ESC, and then maybe pick up, a brush crawler motor. But see, I could either use that motor like I'm talking about out of my CC01, that blue Jeep one, but I believe it's a 45 or a 55 turn. I could use it in it, or I could just wait and get me like a 35 turn crawler motor and use the 35 turn crawler motor, in it, which would give it good wheel speed as far as, moving around, but still give it a good crawling experience. And yeah, doing it up some kind of apocalypse way would probably be cool. I've sat there and looked at it and tried to think of what all I could do with it. Part of me says, take that body off of it, leave that back axle undone, just make it into 4-wheel drive, and put a bug style body on there, like a Tamiya Sand Scorch or something like that, or the or the Blitzer Beetle. Put one of those bodies on it and just make it 4-wheel drive and have it kind of as a rock racer / crawler bug, and you could still do an apocalyptic type thing with that if you wanted to. But yeah, leaving it 6x6 and then making it a apocalypse thing would be something you don't see for sure every day on YouTube. Because if I go with the bug body, that's something more people probably have done. But if I try to do it something else and make it apocalyptic, maybe not as many people have done it, especially with 6x6. But yeah, I gotta get to it, and try to figure it out. Later time, I'm gonna try to work on the shock system that's on it, because I don't think they're oil filled. I think they're just friction, dampered. They got springs and they look like they're oil filled, but probably don't even have the bladders. It's supposed to be a kit you can buy where you can add the bladders to them. If I'm going to do all that, I'll just measure them up and try to order the same size shocks, especially for the rear. Now that front, I was thinking about getting some the Traxxas ones off what do they call it? The lay down ones on the little Traxxas. And do something like that, because the front ones lay down on that one. So, and they look more like 1/16 scales. But what I could do is hunt down some Matera Twin Hammer front ones and put them there. They would probably work. That would probably work real good, since this is 1/12 and the Matera was 1/10. It would still probably fit pretty good, because the shocks on this thing ain't up to par, that's for sure. But yeah, I definitely need to do some work to it, because it's just sitting in the closet. I either need to do some work to it and get it up and running, or sell it to somebody as a roller and leave it alone, one or the other. But I went ahead and put up Christmas decorations last night a little bit. I got a little bitty tree sitting here beside my computer that I light up at night. Over here on the counter, I got an angel, a candle system like you put in a window. But because my kitchen window's doubled, I'm not fooling with lifting that up, putting it inside, and then shutting the window down some on it and all that mess. And then I've got Christmas decorations over there on the counter and in the living room right there. And then I've got my tree up in the living room. Got a white Christmas tree, multicolored lights and different things. But, yeah, I wanted to at least have a tree up 2 weeks before Christmas. That way, I can say, hey, I at least had my tree up for a couple weeks. I put it up last night. Vacuumed my living room real good, put the tree up. And I figure once I take the tree down, then I'll vacuum it again. Because the stuff that falls off the tree, you want to vacuum all that mess up. Even though it is a fake tree, you still have stuff that falls off. Pieces of garland, stuff like that. Little pieces, chips of branch that get old and brittle and fall off. But yeah, I'm using the StreamYard, trying it out. Like I said, this is the second time I'm trying it out. I went to this so that way it would give people the option, if they had the mic on and they had their camera on and everything, we could try to put them in here and have it where it shows them too. But I may back out of doing this my next few videos and go back to the original way I was doing it. Because like I said, when you just do YouTube Live, it puts all the comments directly under your video. So when people are watching your video, they can just look down and see what everybody was saying while I was talking. Whereas this version of it, everything's over here to your right. Your comments are. I can see all of them, but as soon as I end the broadcast and send it live on YouTube and put it over there, anybody who comes in to watch the video after it's done gone live and then stopped, they don't see these comments unless they click on them and bring them up. They have to open up the comment section to see what everybody said while the broadcast was going live. Whereas on the YouTube version, they don't have to do that. It just makes it easier for people that are joining in after the broadcast ends. I mean, you join in after broadcast ends, you're looking at the video, and you're looking down to see what people were saying while I was talking. Boom, It's right there. Instead of having to come over to the right-hand side and open up stuff. I was just trying this out. So if people wanted to be seen and heard while they were online with me, we could try to do that, and try to get it going. And one of my RCers that I talked to, he was supposed to come in one night and I guess give me a little bit of help and get me situated on this so we could make it where you could see like me, him, some other people, but he hasn't joined in yet since I've been doing this. Like I said, this is only my second time of doing it this way. But I may go back next week and just do the regular YouTube version where people just type under the video, type in their comments, and when it shows up on YouTube, that's where they're at. Until maybe I get a bigger audience. As the audience grows where, I'm getting 50, 60, 80, 100 views, every week on it. Then go back to this. That way it gives more people a chance to try to, be vocal if they want to be vocal through being seen and heard instead of typing. Excuse me. But a lot of people are on the cell phones and they'd rather just text their comments in. Like half the people I had on last week's video, here I had it set up where they could use a mic and the camera and everything and be on here live, but the phones they were on, they couldn't do anything but text on my video while I was live. So it didn't really help them out, Whereas if it's a YouTuber who's got the camera and the mic and everything set up on his home computer, they might want to pop on here and be, live with me. That way I can turn the floor over to them if they're wanting to talk about a new RC they just got or something they were doing, and they want to show it. It's kind of like a show and tell. They're showing their RC. I've never did a live stream. Hey, I just started a few weeks ago, to be honest. I haven't done many. I just started them. Like I said, the first couple I did were just YouTube. I just click on YouTube and say go live, and it asked me was my camera and everything hooked up, and then it sensed that it was. Boom. I would do that, but I work every Thursday night. I told Tank that. Tank's the actual one who told me to do the StreamYard. Tank said, go get StreamYard so that way people can interact with you more on your live chats. So I went and got the StreamYard. He said he might stop by one night when I'm online doing a live broadcast, but he hasn't made it on yet. Like I said, this is only my second one since I've had StreamYard. He hasn't jumped on yet. And yeah, if I went on Tank's, I could probably get audience from some of the people that that watches his might jump over here to see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I work every Thursday night, and I sent Tank a message letting him know. I sent it to him in my last video. And on a comment when he commented on one of my videos, I commented, "Hey man, I can't watch your videos anymore because I can't come on live on your videos because I work every Thursday night." So that kind of takes me out. The only Thursday night that I don't work pretty much is Thanksgiving, or if Christmas falls on Thursday. But and Thanksgiving was for my family, so I wasn't going to be online chatting on Tank's live show on a Thanksgiving day, even if he did one, because it was all about my family then. But yeah, I used to go on Tank's live chats back before I worked Thursdays. I used to be off like every Wednesday and Thursday at a job I used to work. That was my 2 set days off. And I'd go on there on Thursdays. This was, a long time ago. And back when we had Google Hangouts, I used to get on Google on different people's chats. And we'd all chat and everything. But then Google Plus, all the Google chats went away. All those RC groups that were over on Google Plus, all that went away. And I was going to get on Tank's chats that he had on his RC channel, but he does Thursday chats. So I started working every Thursday. And I was like, well, you know, if I'm working every Thursday, I can't be on his channel, you know, because I just happen to be at work, you know, when his live chats are going on. And I'm not going to look like no troll. Go over and watch his live chat after he's already done it. Comment on it and say, hey, good chat, Tank. Hey, everybody, this is Budget Guy RC. Why don't you come over to my channel and check out my live chats on Tuesday nights? I'm not going to troll like that. I'd rather people just find it in time. And when they find it, slowly but surely word gets out. And maybe I do build up a following, you know, if it happens. I was watching the ACC championship being streamed on YouTube the other night. It was the Clemson, Virginia. And I was watching it. And everybody was commenting on the score and how the game was going and everything. And you had these two guys who were just left and right trolling. It was every 30 seconds they were posting a comment of, please sub me. Please sub me. Sub my channel, please. Please sub me. Sub my channel, please. They got reported. A couple guys on the channel were like, man, this is about commenting about this game that is live. I'm not coming on here to promote your channel. And so they got reported. You know, and I'm not going to go, you know, a lot of people do that. They'll troll channels. Hey, man, I started doing a live stream too. Why don't you come over to mine and check mine out? You know, I really don't want to do that, you know, as far as trolling, just by commenting. But now if I'm on there live on Tank's channel and it got brought up, say if Tank said, hey, everybody, Budget Guy RC started one on Tuesday nights. I'd be like, appreciate that, Tank. Yeah, if you ain't got nothing better to do, come on by and we'll chat for a while on Tuesday nights. You know, I can say something like that. But I don't want to go on there after the fact, after the video's been uploaded. He's done his broadcast live, and me come on there, comment, and go, hey, if you like Tank's live chats on Thursdays, you might get something out of mine on Tuesdays. Come join it. Or I might get something from you. Because, you know, you're never too old and you never know everything. Somebody can always teach you something you didn't know. That's what, like I told somebody, I do these chats just because I enjoyed the ones when I had Google Hangouts. When we used to do the Google Hangouts, I would be on like pretty much every one I could. Unless somebody did one on a Thursday, I would do it. You know, and then when those got canceled, and it got where I was working every Wednesday, well, at least every Thursday night and every weekend, everybody that put up their chats. You got another guy, RC Dre. He does a lot of Friday RC chats. Well, I work every weekend. You know, I generally work. I'm generally working every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So most chats like that are out for me. And, you know, so I picked up and I was like, well, why don't I just do something on Tuesday? I'll either call it Tuesday Talk or I'll call it Tuesday RC Talk. I'll see how it goes. Yeah. But yeah, if I was off on Thursday nights, I would jump over on Tank sometime and hopefully he would mention, hey, y'all, Marshall started his own chat on Tuesdays. Because I know some of the people on Tank's chats. You know, people that we used to chat all the time on Google Plus. But now we don't really chat because, you know, there ain't no more Google Plus. Other than them commenting on a video of mine or me commenting on some of theirs. Or you got people that's not doing a lot of videos anymore. Maybe they're working on projects. So they're not really on YouTube that much right now because they're doing a bunch of, say, winter projects or something. They may not come back on and find anything about it until, you know, they get that project complete. But they're over there maybe doing a live chat on Tanks while they're working on said project. So yeah, it would be easier to be heard about and seen if I was over there on Tanks. But yeah, it does kind of suck working on a Thursday every week and, not being able to ever jump on one. Because he's got a pretty good following over there. And like I said, I do know of a lot of those RCers on his live stream because we used to Google Hangout together all the time. But a lot of people I used to Google Hangout with are in different time zones, and they would get the notice in advance that we were fixing to go live and do a Google Hangout, and they'd be able to pop in for a while. Here, I'm not really putting up any kind of advance notice. Tank advertises his and puts up and lets you know, hey, it's going to be coming up this Thursday. He'll put the advertisement up, I think, on like Monday that it's doing it Thursday. I didn't like when they ended Google Plus. Yeah. I didn't like it when they ended Google Plus, man, because you had Google Hangouts, plus you had all those Google RC groups. I mean, I was a member of like 35, 36 different RC groups, and one of them was my own group. It was like RC Fun Club. And there was a lot of groups I was a member of. And you put up your videos there. It brought more viewership to your channel. You brought more new subscribers to your channel because these people would come into a, Google Plus group, watch your video and be like, man, I'd never seen any of your videos till I came in this group tonight and saw it on this site. So Google Plus really helped a lot. And when they killed Google Plus, they messed up the RC community, And yeah, Facebook, they're too much trying to sell ads. I've got Budget Guy RC on Facebook, but every time I even go on to my own channel, they're trying to get me to buy ads to promote my channel. You can promote your channel for this amount. And I'm like, I don't want to promote it that way. I just have to promote it with my tags that I put under it when I'm launching a video and hope people come here and see it. And yeah, there's generally more drama over there. I've had people come on there and start asking for free RCs. Well, I've always wanted to get into RC. Could you give me one? You got more than one, you should be able to spare one. Like that, just straight out the blue. They don't even comment on the video. They don't even say whether they like the video or not. Straight up, first thing out of their mouth. Oh, man, you got more than one RC. You should be able to give me one. You're like, wow. The Facebook one, I got a lot of that on there. I don't post any of my, like these live streams. They're not posted on, I don't send them over to Facebook because I talk about more than RC here. And I don't send any of my fishing videos that I do on this channel or my kayak stuff. I don't send any of that over there to my Facebook one. The only thing that goes on my Facebook one is the Budget Guy RC over there. It's just my RC videos. Whether it be unboxings, whether it be crawling, bashing, whatever. But yeah, I wish they'd launch something else. Everyone on Facebook spams all the groups with their videos, so all the groups end up with the same content. Well, what's really bad is you have, and I'm not going to mention any of the groups over there because I am a member of a bunch of different Facebook groups, RC content wise. It's not so bad if you come on and you put up a video, once or twice a week, but you'll have guys coming on to a Facebook page and they post 5 different videos in one day. I had that problem on some of the Google Plus groups. Guys would post 5 videos in one day. And everybody else who had just posted that day, if they posted before him, all their videos are pushed down, and you got to scroll down for an hour or more to find any of those videos, because all this guy's videos are sitting there, boom, 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 where he just posted up like 5 videos in a row. That I didn't really care for. To me, try to give everybody a chance to post something. And yeah, if you're a member of 5 groups on Facebook, generally you're going to post your videos on all 5 groups, because that way, so other people that aren't a member of all those 5 groups may be able to come on there and see your content. Say if you are a member of this group, but you're not a member of this group, and you get on there and you be like, oh man, I'd never seen that video before. That's why some people do it. They want to get it out there so everybody can see it. But come on, don't abuse it. Don't post 5 videos of yours in one day in every one of those groups and push everybody else's videos down so nobody can see them without hunting for an hour or 2. That was my biggest complaint. I've seen guys post 6 videos on one group in one day, like boom, 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 almost back to back. It'd be like 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. And everybody else's videos get pushed down, and you're sitting there scrolling for an hour on Facebook trying to find another video other than this person's. That one got me a little upset. I was like, really? I don't want to see 6 videos from one person in one day. I'd like to see what everybody else may have done that day. Yeah. But me, I just post up sporadic. You can go to all them RC Facebook groups. You might see me post up here 2 or 3 videos. Then you might not see me post up for 2 or 3 months. Because, like I said, people post so much on some of them groups that your stuff gets pushed down so quick. Before anybody's seeing it, you're almost off that page. It might be 2 or 3 weeks later before you get 2 or 3 views. I mainly post my videos on my 2 groups, then maybe 1 or 2 other groups. What's up, Shin? Hope you're doing all right tonight. Yeah, that Google Plus leaving was that one hurt. And if you didn't see it, Shin, Bull Guy RC video says, hey, Shin. I just like to make sure everybody knows who everybody's talking to if they don't spot it. Because I had a guy on here the other night, his phone was a little laggy, and I didn't know it, and I was saying the comments again because his phone was taking a while before he would catch them. So I ended up repeating them to him. But what's some dead critters you found, Steve? The big fish and the raccoon? I will say this. I'm thinking of hardly posting my videos on my YouTube. I mean on Facebook, because it's not good for the YouTube channel. It does seem like, in my instance, I'll just say from my experience, when I first did my Facebook channel, I called it Budget Guy RC. I kind of got the feeling that it was taken away from my YouTube channel, because I put on there, and in the details, I put on there, hey, I'm also on YouTube. Go check me out there. And if you like what you're watching, give me a sub. It would be greatly appreciated. Blah, 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 blah. And I looked down the list of the people who watch my videos on Facebook, and realistically, very few of them ever end up on my YouTube channel commenting or subscribing. So I don't really see where my Facebook helps my YouTube channel at all, pretty much. But it does help with people, other people that are on YouTube, say that don't do as much on YouTube as they used to, because they say they got a bigger family now and they're devoting more time to the family. They might be on Facebook talking to their friends and see that I've got a new video up on my Facebook channel, and they haven't been on YouTube, so they don't know it's up. They'll end up watching it there. So at least they still know I'm active, and they still give me a watch and a comment. Yeah, I thought that maybe the raccoon chomped on that fish and got sick and died from it because it was a tropical fish from a pet shop. There was a bite mark out of it. Yeah, I saw that white section on this where it was like white right over here on the side, the big round circle. I didn't know whether that was some kind of infection or whether it was just a bite mark, but I did see the big round circle on the side of it. I was like, wow, that looked rough. But it's weird to see a dead raccoon floating in the edge of the water. That was weird, just seeing that. I could have understood if it was a small raccoon and it fell out in the lake and it drowned coming back, trying to get back in, you know. But that close to the bank, you wouldn't think it drowned. You would think it died from something. Now I'm gonna ask the elephant in the room question. Have you ever ate any of the fish that you caught out of that area, or do you not eat fish? You just simply catch and release? Just asking. Bulgy is like, what the hell are they talking about? Laughing out loud. Well, I did inform him when he first come in here that we talk about a little bit of everything. We talk RC, then we may jump over to fishing. We may jump over to boating. You know, we may talk about different camera equipment that's used, and then we may come back to RC. We're all around on here. It's not just RC. So, yeah, it will throw some people. I've actually, figured that would throw some people. I listed as, Tuesday RC Talk, and then here we are talking about a dead fish and a dead raccoon at the edge of a spot where you were fishing. But again, Shin, only tried one of each kind. That's it, only catch and release. Well, the reason I was asking, because of the oddity of the dead raccoon in the water. Did he eat that fish? Did that make him sick? Or is there some kind of contaminant in that water that can make, something sick? That's the reason I asked. I didn't know. Some people just catch and release, and some people actually keep some and eat them. Me, it depends on what I catch. It depends on whether I feel like it or not. I mean, I've gone brim, crappie, bass, catfishing. I've done all of it, and I've turned them back, and I brought some home. I brought a catfish home before. Been so tired when I come home from fishing all night, I'd throw that big lunker over in the tub, fill up the tub with water, leave that catfish in there swimming. I'd go to bed, catch me a few Z's, get back up, clean that fish, fillet him up, and either have him for supper that night or take the fillets, freeze them, and have them in a week or two, for supper. But yeah, I used to eat anything big enough to clean and, eat. Used to. Then I got where I done a lot more catch and release. Because I'd be like, I have a good time out here catching them. You can go ahead and let them back, let them get a little bit bigger, let somebody else have the fun of catching them. But it just depends. Like I said, all them brim I've showed, most of those, they're either bait or throwbacks. You either catch them and use them for bait for something else bigger, or just throw them back. Now, of course, if I catch something, brim this size, or some crappie like this, and some bass at least like this, I may be like, if I catch 6 or 8, I may be like, I'm going home and have a fish fry, or I'm going home and try to fillet some. Just depends on how I feel at the moment. Then again, I might just record them, show how they look, turn them back, and go on about my business. I don't know. I've never seen something like that before. Yeah, I saw it years ago. This was years ago, and I mean years. Not like 3 or 4 years ago. I mean like 10 or more. Might have been 10, 12 years ago. There was a lake, and there was a plant nearby, and it leaked a chemical into the ground right there at the edge of that lake, and then it ended up seeping into the lake over the years. And you started seeing a lot of fish up near the bank, dead. And a lot of small critters like birds, beavers, different things like that, possum around said lake. You started seeing them in the woods near this lake dead. But they actually went out and put out a thing saying, hey, if you fish at this lake, do not eat them. Please catch and release if you're going to fish here at all for the next. And they actually gave an estimated time. It hurt their town. And I lived in this town, so I know. It hurt their town. I think it was like the damage that was done was going to take like, I think it was 5 years to start clearing up. Well, guys, I got to get out of here. I'll try to catch you next Tuesday, bro. Man, I sure would appreciate it. And I appreciate you stopping by tonight, Bull Gear. If you don't make it back before Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. If you don't make it back before Christmas. But if you do, I'll see you next Tuesday if you get a chance. Yeah, Shin. I'm not saying it was, something in the water, but in a town I used to live in too, like I said, the plant leaked some stuff. They didn't know it was leaking or did and didn't care. I don't know that part of it, but it leaked, seeped into the water from miles away. It's like a couple miles down the road, maybe 5 miles. And it slowly poisoned that area a little bit, especially the edge of the water. And fish got sick and died. Some of the small animals around that area in the forest. And this was like a state park. The lake was on the state park area, part of it. And it really messed up the state park for a few years. All right, later, Bulgar RC videos. It really messed up that people coming into that state park. And they charged, like a fee to come into that state park every time you came. So they lost a lot of that admissions fee because people were like, well, if I can't keep them, I don't even want to come there. If it's going to take about 5 years for it to clear up, I ain't coming. But it was kind of like, I forgot whether it was mercury or something that got leaked into the ground or into the water supply, but it was something that got leaked in there. But it was something that was only going to take about anywhere from 2.5 to 5 years to clear up. Was what we were told. They said, do not eat any fish that you catch in this lake for a period of at least 2 to 5 years, somewhere in that frame. So I think that started my catch and release a good bit. Well, I was thinking of tropical fish that was released into the pond and died. Maybe it had some kind of sickness that the raccoon got and died if it ate. Yeah, it could have been. What it could have been is the fish got sick in the people's tank. They realized it was sick, and they didn't want it to spread to, say, there are other fish in their tank. And they just got it up out of the tank, took it there, put it there, and was hoping that maybe being out in the wild, it would miraculously come back, heal itself, or they didn't care. And then when it died being sickly, whatever it has was contagious. Raccoon comes over hungry, takes a bite out of it, and a couple of days later, you got him laying over in the edge of the water. You would hope that it's nothing in the water. I don't think the pond is bad because I've been fishing there for a long time since I was a kid. And I only have a tail now, like 4 inches or so. Just a little bit of radiation. Just a little bit. It'll be okay, though. everything else will kill me before that. So, the radiation, I'm good with that. That little bit of radiation. I can deal with a little bit of a tail. Is that how it is? But yeah, we did actually in that town. It was our main lake. It was the only lake in that town. And this was a lake that drawed a lot of bass fishermen. They would even come there and have bass tournaments at this lake. And then all of a sudden you're telling people the fish may be sick. There may be some chance of poison fish coming from this lake after this leak. And it should take 2 to 5 years within that area to clean it up and to get it where it's safe again to eat the fish. You ruin a lot of bass fishing tournaments because a lot of people want to eat some of what they catch. Yeah, laughing out loud. Yeah, because if you're a smoker and you got the radiation, the cigarettes are probably going to kill you before the radiation. Your tail will just get a little bit longer, every few years. It's 4 inches now. I'll talk to you another 2 or 3 years from now, and it'll be 5.5. 10 years from now, it might be 6 or 7 inches. But yeah, but it's all good. Maybe just buy, as the years go on, maybe get stretch pants so you can stretch out a little bit more to hide the tail. Yeah, just some advice. The river I go to on the bridge, that spot's polluted from people throwing stuff from all the buildings around it. They say it had Agent Orange in it. Yeah, that's something. If you're going to go there, it's just got to be catch and release. I mean, come on. You wouldn't even want to chance it. I wouldn't even keep the fish there from where you're talking about right there. I wouldn't even take that somewhere else and use it as bait. Because, you're automatically taking a chance you're going to kill the fish you're going to catch. Catch some fish over here at the river. You put them into something. You take them somewhere else and use them as bait because they're small enough. You get there and you throw out and you catch a fish and you decide to release him. Then you made that fish sick, which can in turn make other stuff sick. So yeah, those are just, if you think there's any sick fish in that area, then yeah, it's just catch release. You're just down there going, oh man, that was a good fight. Oh man, he looks like a pretty fish. Toss him back. But yeah, I lived there and they had that leak from that plant. But of course, the plant was so big a name. I think when it got exposed, they did clean it up quick. Now that pond is super clean. The water that comes in it looks like spring water. Oh. Yeah. I've been to some lakes that look like that. Where the water just looks so clean. I've been to other lakes where, you can't see this far down in the water. There's either so much mud content or it's just so nasty. But yeah, it does suck when you're out there fishing and you catch somebody's shoe, or you're out there fishing and you catch a hold of a tricycle, or you're out there fishing and you start reeling in a moped. Somebody stole it, took some of the parts off of it, tossed it in the water. Yeah, it does kind of suck. Guys eat the fish from it all the time. I just don't bother. I go for the fun of it. Well, that's okay too. A lot of guys do. If you look at Wishing I Was Fishing 73, some of his videos, he turns them back. Other videos he keeps. And he tells you, this is going to be bait because I'm planning on going catfishing tonight, or this is going to be bait for this, or I'm taking a couple of these home to feed my pet fish I got at the house or something. Or he will actually tell you, I'm taking these home to eat them. Yeah. But that's everybody's business. Everybody has a different prerogative. I've seen a lot of bass fishermen. They'll take 4 or 5 of them put them in the live well. They're just going home to eat. And when the other ones, they'll catch and they'll be like, I got enough for now. And they'll just show them, put them back in the water. My dad, when he went, if they were big enough to clean and for him to eat, 90% of the time, my dad was bringing fish home and we were having some fish. But my dad was a big, avid bass fisherman. You didn't hear much about him crappie fishing that much. You definitely didn't hear about him brim fishing. And he definitely didn't do any catfishing that I know of. If he did, he didn't tell me about it when I was growing up. The only thing he ever talked about when I was growing up was his bass fishing. He'd go out with his friends on their boat, and then when he got his own boat, they'd go out with him on his. And that's all he did was bass fishing. And you'd see him open up that live well and toss them in. And generally, if you're putting them in a live well, you ain't catching and releasing. Unless you keep them in the live well and you decide you're just too tired. And you're like, I don't really feel like fooling with them. And you turn them back in because you had them in a live well. TVs in the river, shopping carts. I've seen so many things in the river. Dead dogs stuck on pipes underwater. A dead pig floating down it. Strapped on a log. Chickens with their heads cut off in it. Ugh. It looks like something you'd see in an apocalypse. You're going to see a zombie floating down the river next time going, can't get out of the water. That's what you're going to see next time. Yours is that really, I've gone places and literally pulled in an aluminum can. I've gone places thrown out. It pulled in like a soup can, like a chunky soup can or canned good can like that and be like, what is this doing here? And you're like, well, I guess maybe they started a fire. They cooked them with a little bit of soup or something. Or they just opened it and ate it cold. And then they just either tossed the can actually out into the water or dropped it down at the edge of the bank. And then when the water rose up a little bit, it caught a hold to it and took it into the water. But I literally have latched onto like a bicycle before. I've literally latched onto a moped. Because guys in the town I used to live in, this was like, say 15, 20 years ago, guys would catch or steal bikes and mopeds and they'd strip what they wanted off of them and they'd go throw the rest of it either in the lake or in a river. And that way they generally didn't get caught. They throw away the parts back then that had the main parts that had the serial number on it and they keep the parts that didn't. And I've hooked up caught a bunch of that kind of crap. Me and a buddy of mine used to go fishing under this train trestle. And we'd fish under that for crappie, whatever. We'd fish under there for that a lot. And the water would go down low and you'd be fishing and you'd be like, wouldn't be catching nothing at the moment. And you'd look and be like, what is that? And you'd look again real closely and it'd be the handlebar from a bicycle or a moped or a motorcycle. It is on a shady street. It's bad down there, like the hood. You see meth needles on the bridge. Oh, man. I don't know if I'd even go down there and fish, buddy, to be honest. I would be a little, put off by that. Just saying. I don't even know if I'd go there fishing. It just because of that. If I'm down there fishing off the side of a bridge, and I'm looking at meth needles laying across the bridge and beside the bridge, I don't even know if I'd want to be down in that area. Just me. I might be like, I'm going to look and see if I can find a better spot to fish. But, if you catch a lot of good fish there, just for fun, it'd have to be some nice fish that I'm catching. I'm not talking about even for eating. I'm talking about just fishing. I'd have to be catching some nice ones, like some nice sized cats, some nice bass, some good sized, like pound crappie, some nice fish to even consider going somewhere like that and fishing. That's why I don't go much. I am scared of getting shot by a car coming by. Yeah, I mean, because for all you know, somebody comes by, sees you standing there fishing, and they're thinking, well, he's an easy target. He's got his back turned. I can grab his wallet. I can, get a hold of him, get his wallet, and I might have to get some money, and go get me some more meth or go get me some more of this. You don't know. But, I mean, you can get shot anywhere. It ain't got to be necessarily be at a crack house or be in a meth street, I lived in a subdivision one time, and this is no lie. I got no reason to lie about it. I lived on a street one time. The street did not look that bad. People lived there, had kids and stuff. You'd see kids up and down the road during the daytime. And literally one night, sitting in the living room, heard gunshots. There were people coming down the road with 2 or 3 guns, opening up fire on the mobile home across the street. It was directly across the street from where I lived. And they were opening fire on this place. Rumor had it, the woman that lived there was a good woman, but family members that stayed with her wasn't necessarily as good as her. They, I guess, dealt drugs on the side or whatever, and it was basically a drive-by. You had a car ride by with 2 or 3 guys in it shooting different weapons. Luckily, nobody was hurt. They shot one of the cars up. The trailer had a couple bullet holes in it. One of the trailers in between it and the next trailer, behind it on the next street over, even took a hit or 2. Nobody was hurt, but still, we're living there and we're like, really? And we had just got there. Didn't have the money to go somewhere else. So we were kind of stuck there for a while. And we were like, wow. So that was really freaky. Luckily, I had a part chow, they wasn't sure. She was part chow, part shepherd or Rottweiler. Because she was the color of the shepherd and Rottweiler, that black and rust. But she had the curled tail and purple on the tongue like the chow. And then I had a German shepherd, white German shepherd, golden retriever mix. And I had them 2 big dogs. So if you got in my house, I wasn't as worried. And I had a 30-30 that has, holds 7 shots. So if you got in my house, I wasn't that worried. Because I had the 2 dogs and my gun. But come on, a drive-by, one of them bullets could ricochet, go astray, come right into your house and get you. So it was really good. It wasn't that long after that drive-by. It was like a month or 2 later. They ended up moving out. They left the mobile home. I don't know whether the landlord told them they had to have it out of there in a certain amount of time and they couldn't afford to do it. And so they moved, but they left. And then the place did get a lot quieter because that was the biggest thing we had out there. That's crazy reading my post above the last one. Yeah. No, the street is called Shady Street. Oh, the street is called Shady Street. A guy in one of my river videos told me on a video he caught a dead, decaying lady when he was 13 in this river. And he said there was still meat on it. In other words, she wasn't just bones. She hadn't been in there for like 10, 12 years and decayed all the way to bones. She was probably in the last few years, if that, put in there. Because I don't know exactly how long it takes to decay all the meat off of a body once it's been thrown into a water source. But, it wasn't 10, 20 years. Wow. Could you imagine catching that? Could you just imagine? I mean, that's almost like having a drive-by directly across the street from where you live. I mean, you heard all these different gunshots. You could clearly hear the shotgun. Boom, boom. You could clearly hear like a 357, 38, one of those revolvers, shooting. And then you could hear the automatic, like a 9mm. You You could clearly make out 3 distinct guns that night. And I'm sitting here going, oh, Lord. And we didn't go anywhere near the front part of the trailer. You know, the part that was facing them. We stayed towards the backside of it. So that way, if it came towards the trailer, we were further away from it. Nasty, probably a couple of weeks. She still had all her meat on her almost. He said, oh, man. Can you imagine being 13 years old and hooking into a dead corpse? You're out there fishing. Maybe you're out there fishing trying to catch supper. Or maybe you're just out there fishing for fun because you're bored. And you throw out there, when you start reeling something in, you thinking you got the big one you're going to go home and tell your friends about. Yeah, you definitely got something to tell people about. Wishing I was fishing through 73. Good to have you back, my friend. Brother, yeah, that does sound bad. I don't know. I think snagging a almost fresh, week or so old body in the river when you're 13 would be worth it. Yeah, because I didn't actually see the drive-through. I heard it, reached for my rifle, and reached for the ammo. So if anybody tried to break it out, I didn't know for sure what it was. I didn't know they were just going to shoot at that one house and go through. I didn't know what this was about at the time. Until I come out after they were gone, I saw the bullet holes in the car, at the corner of the trailer, and at the other trailer that I was talking about. But I was just grabbing my gun and hunkered down inside my home in case they came in. You know, the dogs and me could try to take care of some of it at least. But yeah. But to throw out and actually catch a dead body. And come on, you're 13. That makes that drive-by almost seem like nothing because I didn't clearly see the drive-by. But yeah, it's still rough. I mean, that would have been like that video. You know about this one, Steve, for sure. And so does Wishing I Was Fishing 73. The video where I was down there trailing and I took that Hummer and I ran into that gator. Now, what if I'd have turned around when I was doing the Hummer, turned around and looked at that gator and he's holding part of a body in his mouth? That would have really been like, oh my God, you know? Wishing I Was Fishing 73. Yeah, it would be bad. The guy talks to my brother in my river fishing video about what's happened. It's crazy. Wow. And you know, it seems like it's getting crazier. And over here in the States, oh man, some of the stuff I've seen lately. I mean, come on, supposedly a guy in the Navy shoots some civilians and then shoots himself over in, what was it, Pensacola, Florida? I mean, now they're saying he was somebody they was training, like an Iranian or Iraqi type division, and he was here training for their defenses, And next thing you know, he supposedly kills a couple of tourists and then kills himself. I'm like, really? Now they're looking into it to see if he had any kind of cahoots with any kind of terrorist organization, of course. I just think it's crazy that it happened right there at a naval type station. She must have dove off the bridge. But it's not too deep. The guy said her head was almost falling off. So what? You think maybe she tried to commit suicide, jumped off the bridge, and it hit her head when she jumped, and that killed her, and then she just stayed until he found her. Once the body bloated, she floated. I mean, trying to be funny about it. And then he found her. Or could somebody have hit her, did something, to the cranium, and then chunked her over? Or was she actually just there, jumping off the bridge, gonna do some swimming or something? But still, that's just something. It's just something you're not expecting. You know. I mean, that's like all right, you go to a pond, you go to a lake. You expect you could see a snake. You expect the snake could come up to the bank where you're fishing at. You expect the snake could chase whatever lure you're using or whatever small fish you get on the line and try to get a hold to it. Or you could even catch the snake. But you don't expect to see a dead body or catch a dead body. Yeah, crazy these days, shootings all the time for no reason. Got to actually be careful what you're doing or what places you're going to nowadays. Well, you know, I actually work with a delivery service. And they sent me to an apartment complex one night. And this is no lie. This was within the last few months. I reported this right after to the company I worked for, and they never sent me back over there again. So I figure what they did was they told them we couldn't deliver there. I called the girl because I can't find her exact apartment number. I figured she didn't have a porch light on, is what I'm figuring. And she's trying to tell me where she's at. And I told her, I said, well, I'm in the apartment complex now. Look for, and I told her what my vehicle looked like and everything. And she says, oh, yeah, I see you. You're on one road over. You need to come over one road. So I come over one road and I start towards, and she's saying, well, just turn into the parking lot. I hear you coming. Turn into the parking lot, your next parking lot you come to. And I'll meet you out there on the sidewalk. As I go to turn in, there's cars parked over here and over here, basically taking up the whole parking lot here and here. And there's a dumpster right back here in between those cars at the very back of the parking lot, and the sidewalk over here and over here going each way to the two buildings. And there's guys just standing out there drinking alcohol in the parking lot, cutting up all around the cars and in the middle of the parking lot. And as I turn in to try to go in between them and give them a minute to move out of the way, right as I start up in there, I see a guy walk by and his shirt moves. You can see his gun sticking out of his underwear and his shorts. He's walking around with either a 9 or a Glock right there. You know, it might have been a Glock, might have been 9mm, might have been a 45 automatic. I don't know. It's not like I got out of the car, walked up to him and asked what he was holding. But he's sitting there walking around with a pistol sticking out of his pants. And, you know, they're all walking around drinking. And I'm like, holy crap. Well, I spot her coming down the sidewalk. So I just pulled up towards him a little bit more, waited for a second, made sure they wasn't reaching for no guns. They spread out like this and went back to their cars. And when they did, I pulled right up to where she was standing, opened the door, handed her food, told her to have a great weekend. I backed straight back out of the parking lot, turned, and was gone. As soon as I started pulling off, I reported it to the company I worked for. I never had to go back to that apartment complex again. But come on. I'm out there delivering this person food, and there is a guy walking in the parking lot with a pistol hanging out of his pants. That was not comforting at all. And they wonder why delivery people want to have mace, tasers, or guns in their car. It's because of that. I mean, if you're going to send me somewhere that I might could get shot or stabbed, the least you could do is okay it for me to have, you know, defenses. Now they want you to go in there and just assume that that person toting that gun's just a good law-abiding citizen, you know, whether he is or he ain't. And, you know, with all the crazy shootings and stuff going on, you don't know what his plan was. Maybe those guys in that parking lot had wronged him, and he was about to come out there after he drank a little bit of courage or whatever. He was about to come out there and just wipe everybody out in the parking lot. You don't know. I don't know. I don't know what this guy's thinking was, why he was toting. For all I know, it was a BB gun that looked real. Because it's not like I walked over there and asked to see it. But That's just not something you expect to see when you're on a job doing something, unless you're a cop or security guard or something like that. Could have been. But I told him I didn't want to go back to that apartment complex no more. And what it was is we were teamed up with one of the restaurants who also offered delivery, but they didn't deliver there after dark. And I told him, I said, you might want to check with them and see why they won't go out there after dark. There was a reason they didn't go out there after dark. It got real shady down there after dark, and they didn't think their drivers would be safe. So said restaurant wouldn't go there after dark and send their people there. But when we teamed up with them, they're like, well, you know, that's on this company. If they want to send their people out there after dark, that ain't our problem. So as soon as I found out about this, I told my boss. He put it into the system and let everybody know. And I never had to go back out there again. It's like we delivered to a college that this pizza place wouldn't go to after dark. The reason they wouldn't go there after dark is because the college kids kept them waiting too long. They'd pull up, let the security guard know who they were. We'd park, and then we'd be on call with the college kid, tell them, hey, we're here. We're pulling in the parking lot now. We're at the guard shack. And they'd be like, all right, I'll be right out. And you end up sitting there in your car for 10 minutes before they come out to get the food. It shouldn't really take 10 or more minutes to walk from a building on campus all the way to where you're at. And the company I worked for was credit card only. So realistically, the kid could have just said, when you get here, call me to let me know you're here, and then leave the food at the guard shack. That way we could have been gone. We could have just pulled up, said, hey, this is a delivery for, gave the name, left the food with the guard, called the person up saying, hey, your food's at the guard shack. And they could have come out on their own sweet time and got it from the guard. Yep. Unfortunately, the world has gotten crazier. Because I've told people before, I remember growing up as a kid, living in a subdivision where you didn't lock your front door. You latched your screen door. And everybody knows on a screen door, most screen doors, you can hit them. Just hit the button and pop most latches on screen doors. You know, just hit the button and the little screen door latch will flip over and let you right in. So, you know, my mom and daddy wasn't worried about nothing then. When I was growing up, go to bed with the front door open. Letting the breeze come in, or because you wanted to be able to, you know, just see because it was relaxing or something. I don't know. My mom and dad would have the front doors open a lot of times. Yeah. All right. Way better than when I was a kid. I'm working on my kayak. It's coming out nicely. Cool. Yeah, I need to get my butt out there and mess with mine. I've just been lagging, as they say. Procrastinating. You know, sometimes I do that. Last night, I just decided to jump on putting Christmas decorations up. I put up Christmas tree and other decorations last night. Of course, I vacuumed my living room before I put my tree up, because I figured I would vacuum it again after I took the tree down, because all that stuff that falls off even a fake Christmas tree. But I was talking to Bull Gear RC earlier, so you didn't catch this part. So I'm going to ask you what your opinion is and what you would do. But I'm going to grab it out to show it to you. All right, Shin, you definitely know the look of this one. Fayutech 6x6. It's got a brushless outrunner type motor right there. brushless ESC system like that. Now, I can't wait to launch the SS Pickerel Hunter. I'll be looking forward to seeing that, buddy. Now, I did a video since I've been living here. And as you can see, my drive shaft's off the back right here. Off these two. In other words, I've got the drive shaft here and the drive shaft up front. So right now it would be front wheel drive if it was working. Well, what happened was this drive shaft came loose because inside this rear diff, there's a grub screw that went into the part that was sticking out right there, and it made it where that fell out with the drive shaft. Well, so it made it four-wheel drive. Well, it was on the trail, and I was hopping limbs and branches out there, and I got a video up of it, and it lost the back-wheel drive. Well, it was still running at the time. I brought it in. I opened the diff. I put it back together. Put a little bit of blue Loctite on that grub screw so it wouldn't come back out no more. And then the battery was dead, so I charged the battery up. Put the battery back in it. When I kicked it on, I hit the throttle one time. All 6 wheels spun. Then they stopped. And then all I had was steering. So now the only thing it has is steering. Of course, like I said, I've just got the body panels off of the whole side over here. I was looking at it that way and then realized, hey, I'm going to have to take the body off to get in there close. Now, I'm wondering if this thing has a reset screw on the a reset button on the ESC, or maybe I can just reset it or something. But I only have steering. And that leads me to believe, oh yeah, the famous problem, you need Loctite, those screws that hold the pinion gear on. Yeah. Well, like I said, it was down the four-wheel drive. It was still running. Brought it in the house, put all that back on, Loctited it, kicked the throttle forward, boom. I had 6-wheel drive for 1 second. I kicked it forward, kicked it in reverse, it had throttle, and then it just quit throttling. Now I can charge a battery, hook it into it, and all I've got is steering. Now what I'm wondering is, did it somehow or another burn up the little outrunner, brushless little outrunner motor? Did it burn up the ESC? Or is it a possibility it's just a reset button and the ESC needs to be reset? Because the ESC still gives me steering, but I've got no motor functions. You don't hear the motor going, spinning like it's a, spur gear tore up, chewed up. And you don't hear none of that motor noise. So the motor's not turning at all on here when I give it throttle and everything. So I'm wondering is it the ESC, the trigger bad? Not sure, because when I steer it, I've got steering. But the trigger was working, and I gave it throttle forward, gave it throttle reverse once I hooked that rear axle back up, and then it just quit. So I'm not sure if it's the ESC, if it's the radio, if it's the motor, or what. And I hate to put another motor in here to find out it's the ESC. And I hate to, plug the ESC into the steering port on the receiver, see if the ESC works when you turn the wheel left or right. In other words, take the ESC, unplug it from where it's plugged in, move it over to the steering slot, turn your wheels forward and turn your wheels left and right and see if you get anything from the ESC then. Because what I was telling Bull Gear I'm thinking about doing is removing, if the radio still works. This is only if the radio still works. If the radio still works and the servo and everything's fine and the radio's fine and it's either ESC or motor or both, I thought about putting just a brushed, like say a 35 turn RC 4-wheel drive motor in here and then a crawler ESC, and then going in and locking at least the 2 rear diffs, and making them full time, or maybe locking all 6 wheels and making it just a main crawler type rig. But I hadn't decided. But yeah, if I could get it going, the cheaper I can get it going, the better. Yeah, the radio wheel will work, and if it works, your trigger pot is probably bad. So in other words, if I plug it into the steering channel on the ESC, and when I steer it, the ESC has a function, then my radio gear is bad. Then I would just have to put a different radio and receiver in here. And to be honest, I have noticed people having problem with these Feiyutechs over the years. The radio go bad on one, and it would have like sketchy response. I had the first one of the first Feiyutech models that come out had the same style radio. Can I spin the motor by hand? The fins on the front of it, right here. I'm spinning the motor and the wheels are moving. As you can see. So yeah, when I spin the motor, these 2 wheels here and these 2 up front spin. Of course, the back ones don't because the drive shaft's not hooked up right now. But yes, when I turn the motor, these 2 wheels, the front 2, and these 2 right here, spin. I've got these undone right now. The drive shaft's off of them. So yeah, motor turns freely, and wheels are still turning. That's what makes me believe it's not the motor. Looks good, but does it have a little magnetic pop? It does have a little bit of a noise, a little bit of a light. I want to say a clicking noise. Could be a popping noise. I'm going to come right up to the camera with it. Maybe you can hear this. That's the noise it has when I spin the motor. That's my noise that I'm getting when I spin the motor. But that could be the gears inside the casing hitting each other. For all I know, it ain't got no lube up in there, no grease up in there. It's just gear on gear. I don't know. I haven't kicked it over in a while, so I'd have to put a battery in it and check that. I bet the ESC went bad. Does it have any lights on the ESC that shows when you floor it, like an LED that comes on. In other words, when you give it juice, does an LED pop on somewhere on the ESC? Or when you first turn it on, does it have any lights on? I think when you actually turn it on, it has something. Hold on. I'm going to try to sit it so it's not sitting on my keyboards as much. I'm going to try to see something. But yeah, I hate it because I like this little 6x6. And I was planning on trying it down the road, do a little bit of customizing to this, and make it a little something different than what it exactly is. And then, this happened and kind of ruined that. I'm going to try to hook a battery up and turn it on. Yeah, also I would pull the motor plugs apart and press them back together, and maybe it got dirty in the plugs. Give me just a second. I'm going to try to find the radio. I got a battery sitting over here beside me. I'm trying to find the radio. It's in a closet right here beside me in the dark. See if I can kick it on and see what we can find. Because I would at least like to know what it is. So I'd like to know what I need to replace. But this is the radio to it. And I had this radio before. It was like the Fayutech F03 or something like that. And it had wonky steering. I mean, it ended up being wonky. I'd run it. I'd run it like 3 or 4 minutes, and it'd run like a great RC. All right. I don't see anything lit up on the ESC, but I hear my steering. No throttle response right now. All right. ESC. How about as you give it gas and floor it? Oh, I don't see anything coming on the ESC. Now I'm plugging in the ESC. Here's me plugging in the ESC straight to channel 1. I don't see any lights on the ESC. I plugged the ESC in right here. where the servo was at. Now, I'm going to plug the I put the steering back where it's supposed to be. As you can see, it works fine. But I plugged the ESC in over there. Didn't give me nothing. If you're talking about hold on a second, let me get it up here. If you're talking about that red LED right there, that's actually the one you see in between those two wires right there. That's on the receiver. If that's the one you're seeing. But yeah, she's dead as a doornail. So I don't know what's going on. So yeah, not really sure on that one. And I'm going to remove the wires to the switch that turns the car on. There. From the plug. Okay. Still no throttle. I pulled every wire that I can think of to pull. I still can't get anything. So far I ain't figuring anything out. No, I don't have any other brushless motors. And I don't even have, I gave it away to somebody. I don't even have any of the Tamiya, the ESCs that come in, like the CCO ones and stuff like that, the ones that are brushless capable. And what is it is the one that comes with the CCO ones that's brushless compatible, right? Or am I wrong about that? And it's the ones that come with another kit. Because I was thinking I could just plug in a different ESC if I had one of those. If I had one of the original, like, brushless ERC, because it ain't the ESCs, the Tamiya, the ones that come in the CCO1 kit stock, aren't they? Some of them brushless compatible. I heard somebody say they were. Because then you can plug your stuff into it. You know. But I don't know. Yeah, but I think they are for censored brushless type motors. Yeah, see, I'm not real sure on that. So I would either have to buy a brushless ESC and hope that's the problem. Because I tried hooking the ESC. I did hook the ESC directly into the steering servo side. Let's see. All right, I just undone the steering servo. I get nothing. So the ESC plugged into channel 1 gets me nothing. Channel 2 gets me nothing. Channel 3 gets nothing. Channel 4 gets me nothing. Yeah, it does suck when something goes bad. And you don't know what did it. Because I don't want to buy a radio if it's the ESC. I don't want to buy an ESC for it, a brushless ESC for this thing, if the radio system's bad. I know my servo works, so I know the steering part. Well, I know this part works as far as steering. That I've got. But throttle, nothing. So, you know, there's that chance. If I go and buy a brushless ESC, slap that in here and go, and it still doesn't do anything. Then you got to turn around and buy a radio system, which means another radio and receiver combo. You know, replace the ESC for nothing. Because if you don't have another brushless motor, now you've replaced an ESC that wasn't bad in the first place. You know. The ESC would have worked in the steering port, so it may be the ESC. That's why I said I might just go get me a cheap crawler ESC off of like eBay or Amazon, somewhere like that, or Banggood or somewhere. Just get me a cheap crawler ESC. Maybe with drag brake, maybe not even with drag brake. And get me like, I was thinking 35 turn would be about the perfect turn for this. But, you know, you could put a 45 or 55 turn. And I think there's plenty of room. I think there's plenty of room in there to slap a 540. You know, because you look how far forward you can come. Looks like there would be plenty of room to slap one in there. But, you know, realistically, I could get me a Barrage ESC and motor. Put the Gen 2, the ECX Barrage Gen 2, 390 in here. And the ESC that goes to it. Put something like that in here, a combo like that. And that would be perfect for this truck. Since it's not quite a 1/10 scale. You know. But I think a 540 would be even better in here. Say a 540, say like a 35 turn RC 4-wheel drive brush motor, and then a crawler style ESC. Put them two in here together. And I think this thing would be a beast, especially if I went and locked all the diffs. But don't know why they even used an outroader motor in this one. All the dirt gets inside. Yeah, it kind of threw me too. That was Fayutech though. They did it on the 6x6 and they did it on some of their other ones. They ran the Outrunner brushless motor in them. I was pleased to get a brushless motor because this was the first brushless motor. So I was pleased to get, you know, brushless, but I didn't want an Outrunner one realistically. But yeah, so right now it's dead in the water. You have steering, but you don't have any forward, no reverse. Like I said, I may just go and slap a crawler type style ESC in here and a crawler style 540, 27, 35 turn, something like that. Because you could get an axial 27 turn motor slapping this thing, slapping a crawler ESC, and you'd have to do a pretty good little rock racer. And if you locked all six wheels, what's nice, the Hobbywing Quick Run 1060 brushed ESC with the cheap $12 RC 4-wheel drive crawler motor. Yeah. Put an RC crawler 4-wheel drive 35 turn. That's $10. And then you get the Hobbywing Quick Run 1060 brushed ESC with it. And you're not out that much money. You slap those two in here. And then you go lock in some diffs. And oh man, you'd have a pretty good crawling machine. I mean, it would still be a pretty good crawling machine even without locking the diffs, because you do have the 6-wheel drive. But yeah, you lock the diffs, and you really got something. Like $20 to 1060. Yeah. That way you got $32 in the whole shebang. You know. Now, the only thing is I would probably have to get me a pinion gear, because the pinion gear that fits on this might not would fit what I'd be buying. You know. May not fit the shaft, because you got to think about it. This is a brushless, and it looks like something, the small brushless Outrunner looks like something that would be in a 1/16 or something. So it might not even fit on a 1/10, you know, brush motor. So I would have to get me a pinion gear. Or swipe one from something else, some extras. I've got, when I bought my HG P401 and my HG P601, both of them came with a couple extra pinion gears. I could try them out and see what they do on a regular 540 motor. You know. Now, would you go with I run the 1060s in my CC01s and WL Toys. Yeah, the 1060s are pretty good. Now, realistically, I heard the 1080s were better, but realistically, the 1060s are good. I heard the 1080s had a better drag brake system. That's what I heard. But yeah, I heard a lot about the 1040s as well. Now, here's the thing. If you run the 1040, would you run the cheap 540 like WRC four-wheel drive 35 turn? Or would you just put like a 390 in here from like the Barrage? Because of the space. It would be an easier fit to fit that little 390. And you could run that 390. Yes, 1080 better for crawling, but $40. Yeah. Oh, I know. I priced the 1080 before. It's the better crawler ESC, but it is double the price. It's like they say, you get what you pay for on that one. It's better. I've heard people say it's way better than a lot of ESCs that are out there on the market, like the Ready to Run ones, that it's better than them because you can get programming cards and you can program it. 390 should work. Yeah, because I'm worried. I'm worried if I get a 540 35 turn RC four-wheel drive motor that I might not have enough clearance. Right there. That's where part of the body cage screws on. And the motor's right there. You've only got enough to barely stick your finger. Wait a minute. Right there. Yeah, you've only got enough to barely stick your finger right there. There's that port thing that holds the screw for the cage, and then the motor's right here. So you don't have a lot of room. I can barely get my finger started down in between those two. Yeah, that's what everybody that's reviewed it says for as far as a brushed crawler ESC. It's one of the best ones you can get. And I do down the road. This is down the road. My CC01 Jeep one. I would love to put that ESC in it and then take my motor up to a higher turn in the Jeep. That way it slows it down and gives it better torque on that one. But, for right now, oh well. I'd rather fix something that's broken that I enjoyed running, and I like the 6-wheel drive. And if I can buy an ECX Barrage 390 motor and pair it up with a 1040 brushed ESC and only spend like $30, $35, that might be the way to go. So I got to look and see how far the screws are apart. Well, this thing has a hold on a second. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer to it. This thing has what I'd say a small can size to it. See it? Of course, I'd have to take all that apart just to see, because you can't even hardly see the motor mount. You can't see where it's screwed in, so you can't see how far they're apart. You would have to open it up and start taking that motor loose. But I've never seen any of my motor cans be that small in any of my 1/10s. Rip her apart, laughing out loud. But yeah, that's why I was thinking the 390. Because of that can size that's on this Outrunner. I was thinking, hey, get me a 390 motor. I want the 390. People will be like, well, why don't you just go to 370 or 380? Well, why not get the better one? Because I don't care what anybody says, the 370 and the 380 are not as good as that ECX Barrage 390. Yeah. By what I'm seeing, by looking at it, can size and everything, it looks like a brushless 390 size motor. Only the WL Toys has a 540. Yeah, the one you got, that green one, with all the numbers. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, whatever. 1, 2, 4, 2, 8, or whatever. Yeah. It's one of the few copies of the Vatera Twin Hammer that has a 540. Most of them have a 390. Most of the copies had the 390 style motor. You know, very few of them had the 540. But yeah, I think it's a 390. And like I said, it's 390 size. But like I said, I would tear into it to be sure when I get ready to do something. But people say, well, you can get a 360. 370. You can get a 380 or you can get a 390. Yeah, probably uses the 1/16 scale pinions. Probably. You know, first I'd like to get the ESC and the motor. Get it here. I ain't even worried about the pinion. Get an ESC and a motor. Buy them. Hook them up to this electronic kit. And just give it some throttle with a battery hooked to it just to make sure the motor's spinning. Because there ain't no sense in wasting the money on a pinion right off the bat if it don't do anything. Because if you find out it's your radio, then you got to turn around and get radio gear. You know? But I had one of these before when I had the Fayutech, the four-wheel drive, the FY003, I think it was. The first Fayutech they came out with. It had a radio like this, and I had issues with it. I would run it one time, and like I said, it would run for 5 minutes flawlessly. And then it would be like that somebody just turned the radio off. It's like the truck just sat there, didn't want to go. And then you play with the radio, turning it on and off, and then the car would start working again. And you'd shoot some more video. And it would be like that almost every time I used it. Well, then it got where the car wasn't working at all. The buggy wasn't working at all. So I had a guy want to do a trade, roller for roller. And that's where I got the Red Cat. That's how I got that Red Cat. That Red Cat Everest 10. I traded the Fayutech FY003 one, the red one I used to have. I traded it as a roller for the Red Cat Everest 10 as a roller. That's where I got this extra battery for my Thunder Tiger. Yeah, well, that's like my Thunder Tiger. The electronics I got from it should fit in here. Because the Thunder Tiger is rocking that 380 motor. Remember, it's 12th scale. The Thunder Tiger Toyota Helix. It's 12th scale. So it's rocking that little 380 motor. You know, so it should fit. But I don't want the 380. Yeah, I'd rather go with the Doomsday and get the 390. Yeah. Use a 1/18th, 1/16th scale size pinion gear from that. And you can get you a 1040 brushed ESC. Put all that in here. And if it works, then you see about maybe locking some diffs. And this thing could become a crawling machine. Then, of course, work on the shocks, too. Well, I don't think they're oil-filled. I think they're more friction and looks. But the shocks would be the last thing on the list. It'd be getting it working right and everything first. But I do like these. I do like six-wheel drives. I don't know. There's just something about them I like. I fell in love with that one I've got up there in closet, the HGP 601. You know, that looks like Mercedes. That thing looked like the Mercedes, like the Traxxas one does, but it doesn't. It's not as close as that. They didn't go as close as that because it's not licensed. But everybody, when I come out with mine and open it up, looks like the Mercedes one. And they're like, oh, it looks like the one they used in Jurassic Park. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of resembles it. But it's not labeled as a Mercedes because they didn't want to pay. HG didn't want to pay, those licensing fees. So they called it the Gallop, whatever weird name that they named it, and everything. But I love that gray silver. I call it Mercedes Benz. I love that 6x6 of mine. And it's got plastic frame rails, and I love it. I mean, it's still a pretty good rig for what it costs and what it gives you. It gives you 6-wheel drive, brush motor, 2-speed transmission as possible if you add a shift servo to it. Because the radio has the place to shift from high to low. You just got to go in and put the piece on there and the shifter and stuff and make it into 2-speed. I just run my 6x6 in the closet. I just keep it in low all the time because it's running like a 21, 27 style turn motor. So it's a little bit faster than your average crawler anyway. So I don't really need it in high gear. I'll run it in low to make it a little bit slower. Never ran a 6x6, huh? Oh, they're fun unless you're trying to turn in a tight spot. They're not known for their turning radius, that's for sure. Mine especially. And I think it needs a little bit longer servo arm on it. And then I think it needs metal steering linkages up front to help mine. But that's something I may look into later time. Or then again, since I'm not comping or anything, I may just leave it alone. I know my electronics are waterproof enough that I can play in them in a creek and get it a little wet and not kill it. Because I've taken it where the tires are underwater. So I know it's at least hitting the electronics. They may not be completely submerged, but it's been in some water. And it's never died on me. I mean, I've taken it in the creek a couple times. So I love that rig. But it has crappy steering. I mean, just being honest. My 6x6 up there in the closet, the steering is crap on it. But now, if I was going to be trying comping it and stuff like that and going out and doing these runs like that where you've got to fit in between these gates, first of all, I probably wouldn't be taking a 6-wheeler. And second of all, it would probably have one of the most powerful servos I could put in it to try to get better steering. And I'd probably put metal linkages and give everything up front better steering to try to do better. But just for fun, it's a blast on trails. I've seen it climb stuff. When I got it completely stocked, it climbed some things that people could not believe it would climb, being a cheap plastic rail, plastic C channels. I mean, they're plastic, and people talked about torque twist on it and complained about it. But for the price, I didn't care. You couldn't go out at that time anywhere and buy a ready to run 6x6 anywhere near that price at the time. And you look at them now, $450 for the axial 6x6, $600 going on $700 for the Traxxas one. And now my 6x6 that I run, you can go out and buy one for like $150, $160. Do a little bit of modding to it, and you've got a real capable rig. Sometimes you can grind a little plastic off the steering knuckles. Yeah. Especially like on Red Cats. Red Cats are bad about that plastic nub sticking off the knuckle, and you grind that little bit off, and it gives you an extra couple degrees. Now, to be honest, my 6x6 up in the closet, original motor, original ESC receiver combo, original radio. The only thing that's been changed on mine is I changed all 6 shocks because they were not oil filled. They were just friction. So I changed all 6 shocks, put oil filled on there. I changed the wheels and tires from the stock ones to 1.9. axial rip saws and put those on there. Then I changed the steering servo from the stock one that was on it, which was, oh my God, slow. I did go up to a waterproof HPI steering servo. Not great, but better than the HG. But yeah. And see, a lot of the time you run in that HG and it gets that torque twist, a lot of people will go back and add a brace in there and help eliminate some of that torque twist. You know. Probably would be. I don't know why I didn't didn't even take it out. I grabbed my 4x4 ECX Torment when it snowed, took that thing out and had a blast in the snow with it. Didn't even think, hey, why don't you grab your big 6x6, excuse me, and run it out there in the snow. And I think we had snow when I had this. And it would have been perfect out there. It's not as heavy as my 6x6 truck up there, which probably would have been great in the snow. All right, Shan. It was definitely nice chatting with you, buddy. Oh, I did real quick before you run. I've been playing with this. That's what I've been doing. I found on the side of that ESC right there, at the front of it, right beside those wires, that wire you see me moving there, right down beside that, I found a little button that you can mash in, which looks to be a reset button. And I actually sit over here and pushed it in and didn't get nothing. So anyway, have a great one, my friend. Hopefully I can talk to you again next Tuesday. If not, I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Peace, my friend. Have a good one, Shan. So, as I was telling Shan RC, trying to figure out what killed this vehicle here. It got the battery hooked up to it, got the receiver hooked up. The receiver's got lights on. When I turn the controller on, you hear it beep, power up. I have steering. I turn the radio off. Push this button in. And hopefully resetting the ESC. Still get that. And nothing else. So apparently that didn't reset it. So it could definitely be the ESC is gone. Because a lot of them, you hold that ESC button while turning on the radio and it resets the ESC. Now, if I had another brushless system, I would test this to find out if it's the ESC. Yep. So I'm going to give up on this because I ain't seeing it tonight. I'm going to give up on this and call this one. Like I said, I know the battery's good. I know I had power because the steering servo was, doing its job. Either this gave me steering, so that part was working. So I either this part doesn't work, the radio's done messed up, or the ESC's done gone. So, and I may just put what I was talking about earlier, if you're just now joining in, I may just put a brush system in this. Well, they say if at first you don't succeed, try again. But I done hit the reset button on this thing quite a few times. Can't get this thing going. So if anybody watches this after this video is put on YouTube, after I end the broadcast, and you see this, give me your opinions. What may be the problem? Do you think radio gear? I was told the trigger might be gone bad, and maybe that's why I'm just getting steering. Or do you think, like others think, and like I think, the ESC's gone? And in that case, if it's the ESC, I may just do what I was talking about. Put me a brush, like a 1040 ESC in here, crawler ESC. Slap me like a 390 motor out of an ECX Barrage, something like that size, 390. Put it in here and get a pinion gear for something like that. Put that in here and then see what it's got. And then maybe go through it, open up all the diffs, put some hot glue in there or something, and maybe lock them up, or put some thick diff oil in there and not quite lock them, but get them close to that, like some 500 or 1,000 weight diff oil. So if anybody watching this has any ideas on this, and I was asked, did I see a red light on my ESC at any time? No, I did not see any red lights on my ESC. The red light that you see showing is on my receiver that is telling you it's connected. That's the red light on it. So no lights on the ESC at all. I have what looks like a reset or reprogram, a little button on the ESC over here. I hit that. I tried turning the radio off, pushing that button down. Still have steering, but no throttle. So, don't know. Anyway, that's what I was curious about. But I plan on doing this. No bad luck. Plan on doing these every Tuesday. Just so you know. Remember, over here on the right-hand side are where the comments are. So if you watch this after it goes up on my channel, if you're watching after the live broadcast and you're checking it out, you have to click and open the messages from the chat during the program so you can see what other people said. Whereas just the regular YouTube live video, it puts it down below your live video, every comment. and you don't have to open something separately up. But I don't know what happened, whether the ESC fried on it. I thought maybe it just needed reset. Maybe the ESC got overheated one time or something when I was out there straining it that day, and I just needed to reset it. I tried the reset button. I held it down, turned the radio off while holding it down, then flipped the radio on. Can't get any kind of throttle response at all, reverse or forward. So either the radio system, the trigger part's bad, because the steering's fine, or the ESC itself went. And like I said, I wasn't real big on the brushless Outrunner style motor anyway. So as I talked about with Shin RC and mentioned it with Bull Gear RC, I was thinking about changing the motor out and just going with a brush system. Because I mean, I can probably get the Barrage Gen 2 390 motor. Should be able to get one of those $10, $15 at the most. You can get you a $20 1060 ESC, put in here, and then grab your pinion gear. But you wouldn't even really need to get the pinion gear just to find out if it works. Get the ESC and the motor, plug everything in. If you get throttle with this, then you know it wasn't your radio system. Then you can go ahead and get you a pinion if it didn't come, if what you bought didn't come with a pinion. Now, you might get lucky and find one that's been taken out that still has the pinion with it. But not necessarily. They don't always work that way. But this is a cool rig because of the 6x6. And I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I took it on a trail run at Paris Mountain State Park. And a guy come on and commented on, he loved the way that I showed it because most people would think this is just for bashing. And I had a blast trailing it, but I do wish it would have had more of a crawler style ESC on it. Then I did an actual bashing video of it. And man, you can't turn this thing with any kind of speed because it just wants to flip. And then I done a video when I moved where I'm at now. I took it in the woods and was doing some branch hopping. I was hopping over tree limbs, kind of like a rock racer, a rock bouncer, but I was hopping up over tree branches and stuff. And screw inside the rear axle, which holds this piece on, which holds that piece on so it doesn't go back and forth, wiggle in there and mess with the drive shaft. It came loose. I opened it up, put it back together, put some Loctite on it when I put it back together, put everything back together, gave it throttle, it went forward one time, gave it throttle, it went backwards one time, and then it just quit. Wasn't no forward or reverse no more. It was steering only. So that's why I think it might be the ESC. So I may put a brush system in this. But anybody who watches this after the live broadcast, if you have an idea what you think it might be, I'd appreciate it. And give me your opinion on which motor. If you watch the video, you can clearly see the motor and where it's at. And you can clearly see the space. I'll show it again real quick so everybody can see. There's the motor. Now, it's got a space for it where a long can could fit in there. But, like a 540. But, if you look right there, you'll see how small around that can is. That's a small can. It looks like it's a 390 size can. And look where it goes back in there into the motor mount. It doesn't look that big, The space doesn't look as big as a 540. So that's why my thoughts are a 390 motor for the Barrage Gen 2 and like a 1040, 1060 ESC for about $20. But anyway, I have exhausted what I can think of right offhand tonight. So I'm going to get ready and put this thing away. I'm going to get ready and call it a night. I want to say peace. Everybody have fun RCing. or have fun in any hobby you do. Now, next time I'll be discussing a couple of games that I got coming. If you watch this video, you'll hear about my niece sending me some money for Christmas for me, my girlfriend, and my son as our Christmas gift from her. And I split it equally between the three of us. And my gift from her turns out to be, I found 2 brand new video games I wanted for my PlayStation 4. And I've got those coming. They're not here yet. I may talk about them if I've tried them. Or I may just mention what I got and see what everybody else thinks of them. But I got 2 games coming, 2 PlayStation 4 games coming as a Christmas gift from my niece. So I may be talking about those next Tuesday. Or I may be talking more about RC, about something else that I'm doing. Like I said, this is not just RC talk that we do here. Earlier, we were talking about fishing. And a buddy of mine told me about a 13-year-old that told his brother a story where he threw out one day and was fishing and he hooked a dead body. And I'm like, wow. We were just talking about how the world's come crazy too, with things happening. Like I was telling him about when there was a drive-by in a subdivision I lived in one time. So we're just talking about a little bit of different things tonight. So anyway, there's nobody in here right now. It's just me flapping my gum. So I'm going to get ready and end this. Again, peace. Marshall, a.k.a. Budget Guy RC. We out. Y'all have a great one. And thank you for whoever watched. And thank you for everybody that popped in tonight to comment, or the people that popped in just to catch a few minutes here and there of the talk. Y'all have a good one.